think about it, there are lots of rules all around us that tell us what we can and can't do. Like this do not enter sign. I'm sure you've seen a lot of these around your town centre. It tells you not to enter a certain road. There are a lot of rules which are there for our own benefit, like this one. It tells you not to press the button, Timmy.
I was just thinking, isn't it strange how some rules are just crying out to be broken?
Read the sign, Timmy. I wouldn't press it if I were you. Timmy.
I'm not you. Perhaps I shouldn't have done that.
Rules can help us live together properly, but the rules have to be right, and we have to follow them. This game of drafts might look ordinary at first, but watch closely and you'll see that it's got all the rules wrong. The white pieces are on the white squares and the black on the black squares, and the game becomes totally useless.
You can.
Well, you can if you don't
The first is the last and to get to the side.
No, no, leave it.
Oh, I've got too many crowns. And you at least you can't get any more. Person head. Not as good as the old game. Cause you can't take, and so it just gets boring and you just want to pick pieces up and throw them.
I thought it was boring as well, because if you can't take, then you're into winner, really. So I didn't really like it.
Everybody has a mind. To be able to think for themselves. Everybody has a body, and they can use their mind to make parts of their body do things. When people are free enough to think for themselves, they can be faced with choices. Question: will a person always choose to go the right way?
With badge, you've got more freedom, there's more fun. But after, when you get punished, you think, oh, why wasn't I good?
They don't think you're going to get told off for anything, because you're having fun while you're doing it.
Yeah, definitely better to be good, because you're not getting in trouble or anything. And you can still have fun without being naughty. You shouldn't be bad all the time, but you should be bad some of the time, because your life is boring if you're not bad.
Here's a question. Why do some people choose to do all the wrong things when they shouldn't? And why did Jules break all the rules?
We went on a coach trip to the seaside. They went to see ships at harbour in the high tide. And they went with a school, and school trips all have some rules.
Now, here are the rules for the day, which you must obey at all times. You are not to go wandering off on your own. You are not to lag behind me. And you are not to be tempted to go into any of the souvenir shops. Now, I hope you have all remembered to bring your pounds with you. because you will need them at the end of the day.
In the class was a boy, and though his name was Julian, well, he called himself Jules because he broke all the main rules. He loitered behind the kids who'd come with his school. Well, I don't like this trip. To see another ship, I wish I were a gull. Then life would not be dull. Because it seems to me that seagulls can be free. They don't have rules, they don't have schools, they don't get Jules's school rule bluesies. No, I wouldn't be too sure about that, Julesy boy. I mean, we have rules in our sort of way which we have to obey, you know. Now look behind you and listen to your old teacher, because I think he's got something to tell you.
Now, have you remembered your pounds? Yeah! Now, when we've been on our trip round here, we will come back to this lifeboat box and you can put them inside it.
They needed £1 for giving later on, but Jules had got £4 and not just one. That meant he got £3 left for spending on something which he felt could be fun. But what on earth could it be? It didn't look much like fun round here, let's face it. Only boats and ships. Then there was a place which looked more like the pace. Some video games and more meant lots of fun in store. So Jules just slipped inside and opened his eyes wide. Here the fun was really on, and he'd won, and he hadn't noticed he'd gone. He spent all his pounds, except one for the lifeboat, then slipped back in line and looked like he'd be just fine. At the end of the trip, they stopped there in the sunshine by the side of a box which had a picture of a lifeboat on, you know the sort, to put in their pound.
Oh, the lifeboat box. Now, remember your pounds? Okay, you can put them in the lifeboat box. Now, because it's been a hot day and you've been very, very good and you've obeyed all the rules, I'm going to let you do something that I've never let you do before when you've been in your uniform. After you put your money in the box, I'm going to let you spend any other money that you have on you. You can go and buy an ice cream.
Ah, well, now Jules had something of a problem. He still had £1 left, which he'd kept very carefully and hadn't spent in all the amusements. Should he put it in the lifeboat box? Or should he buy that ice cream, which is lovely and cool? Go on, Jules, you've done lots of naughty things today. Put your money in the box and show you can do at least one thing that's right and good. No, he'll buy the ice cream. Remember who he is.
He's Jules, and he breaks all the rules.
Here's your ice cream.
So what did he do?
He was supposed to put the money in there, but once the teacher said, you've been very good, you can have an ice cream. If he had an ice cream, he's been very good, so he does the opposite of what the teacher says and puts the money in the box.
I think he bought the ice cream and just said to the teachers he dropped it and lost it.
I think he would have put the money in the box because he'd saved it all that time, even going into the arcades where he could have spent it, so he might as well put it in.
Here's a real-life EQDA. On all our roads, there's one particular law or rule which is there to protect everybody, and that's the speed limit. Yet a lot of people break that law. Why? On roads like this, you're not allowed to go more than 70 miles per hour. And if you do, you might just meet my friend, Sergeant Aspinall.
I can see through my mirror that there is a vehicle behind that's approaching us rather fast, and forming the opinion that that one particular, the black one, is breaking the speed limit.
Sergeant Aspinall drives a special police car.
What I'm going to do as soon as he comes past is I'm going to catch him on the film, and I'm also going to check his speed by use of the computer in front of him with the VAS car.
This car has some of the latest equipment, including a television camera, so that cars which break the law can be put on video. There's a car that seems to be speeding now.
As you can see, his speed's come up at 93.43 miles an hour. It's our intention now to pull him over and point the offence out to him. PC James operated the strobe lights on the front of the car, and he obviously has seen us. I've got to pull him over now and speak to him because he's broke the law. He's committed an offence.
When people who break the speed limit spot a police car, they know they might get into trouble. But the car we were in isn't marked, and from the outside it looks just like any ordinary one. I spent a whole morning driving in it, and it was amazing that there seems to be a lot of drivers on the road who try to break the speed laws. Once we got back to Police HQ, I chatted to Sergeant Aspinall about why people don't always seem to do what they know is the right thing.
Some people genuinely don't know that they're committing an offence. They don't know the speed limit for the particular class of vehicle. Other people just lose concentration and just slip over the limit without even knowing it. Other people are purely impatient and selfish, and they want to get on regardless. And some people do it merely because they want to get away with it. They can see if they can get away with it.
Right, so what happens to them when you catch up with them?
Well, we stop them and we book them. We give them a fixed penalty ticket, or we give them a summons and go to court.
So what would happen if we didn't have a speed limit law?
People would just do whatever they liked. It keeps me and you alive.
Now here's an EQDA, an easy question, difficult answer. How can we carry on doing what's right? Is it something that comes naturally? Or can we be helped? Here's a story where there's more than one lot of rules. Whose rules was Upman following? It's an old Muslim story based on a famine in Medina, squillions of years ago.
It was a famine. The crops had long since been eaten, and nothing would grow in the cracked soil of Medina, the city so loved by the Prophet Muhammad, the first home of the Muslim community. Before the famine, Medina had been an oasis in the desert, a fresh and vibrant spot in a stretch of scorching sand as far as the eye could see. Now the shops were shut, and the merchants long gone. There was no food left. The people were starving. They needed food. From beneath the canopy on the flat roof of her home, Layla's eye caught something tiny, shimmering on the horizon. She leapt up in excitement, pointing and shrieking, "Look!" Making its way over the sand dunes was a heavily laden caravan of Uthman, the third caliph, a rich and well-respected businessman who had been on a shopping expedition. Some of the people ran out through the gates and over the burning hot sand to meet Uthman. "What did you get?" they clamoured to know, tugging at his kaftan and almost pulling him off his camel. "I'll take the lot. Here's some cash," pressed one of the richest men in Medina. "No way," replied Uthman with a wave of the hand. "I'll double that offer," shouted another. "No chance." "We'll pay you 3 times what it cost you," bid the sisters who dealt in spices. "No, sorry," said Uthman. "I can raise that to 4, proclaimed a metalsmith. "Nothing doing, I'm afraid," Uthman insisted. "I'll go up to 6 times what the load is worth," said the silk trader. By now, with crowds pressing all round, Uthman had reached the archway into Medina and dismounted. "Look, you can make me offers until the camels come home, but this food is not for sale, simply because it belongs to someone else who is paying me 10 times what it's worth." 10, they gasped. "You heard. Now will you let me pass?" There was a stunned silence. Whoever could that be? The only way to find out was to follow him into Medina, where he unloaded his camel bags onto the streets. "Allah is great," he called. "Come and eat." And he handed out armfuls of food to the poor. Their sad faces changed into smiles of thankfulness and tears of joy. "Liar! Cheat! Shouted the wealthy mob behind him, with angry eyes and clenched fist. No one bought it for 10 times more. You deserve to be... Allah is the someone, Uthman explained. Look at the difference it has made to these beloved people. Don't you remember what it says in our Holy Quran? That if you do something good, Allah will reward you 10 times over. I have not followed your laws of buying and selling. I have followed those of Allah.
The Jewish faith helps its followers understand what's right and wrong by teaching about the Torah. So how does Jonathan go about learning it?
My name is Jonathan Kaplan. My family and I are Jews. Every week we celebrate the Sabbath, which is a very special day of rest, so plenty of work is done to prepare for it beforehand. I often help my mother with shopping for our Sabbath meal. We're taught that because God is good, we should try to be good as well and keep his commandments. Part of being Jewish is learning about our religion, so I go to 2 schools, my ordinary daytime school and a Hebrew religious school at our synagogue in the evenings and on Sundays.
When the people were listening to Hashem giving the 10 Commandments on Mount Sinai,
I learn about Jewish laws and customs which are very important as to how we should live our lives.
Shamor and Zachor. We remind ourselves with the 2 candles, keeping and remembering the Sabbath from 3,500 years ago to today and on into the future.
Amen. My father, my brother and I go to the synagogue, and after our return we have our special Sabbath meal. My father blesses the wine and the 2 special loaves called chalot. It is a time for the family to come together and discuss the happenings of the week. Cooking, lighting the gas or switching on electricity is forbidden on the Sabbath. We have rules about what we can eat. Permitted foods such as lamb, beef and chicken are called kosher when they have been properly prepared. We are forbidden to eat certain types of food, including pork and shellfish. We end the meal with a thanksgiving and we sing our Sabbath songs. We try to remember God in everything we do.
Thanks, Jonathan. That was really interesting. Now, Timmy, do you remember all the questions we've asked today?
Go on, remind me.
Well, would you rather be bad or good?
Me? Who breaks the rules?
And what would happen if we didn't have any rules or the law?
OK, would you rather buy an ice cream or give your money to charity?
And what's the most important question is, what happens when the crisps run out?
Ah! More questions next time.
To accompany this series, the BBC has published a book. Called Faith Stories for Today, it contains 10 stories drawn from 5 faiths, exploring many of the themes of the series. Written in a lively modern style, each story is followed by interesting questions for further thought. For more information and an order form, please ring 01 991 8031. That's 01 991 8031. The book will be available in the shops this month. If you'd like a copy of the notes that accompany this series, please write to the Christian Education Movement, Royal Buildings, Victoria Street, Derby, DE1 1GW. That's Christian Education Movement, Royal Buildings, Victoria Street, Derby, DE1 1GW. The notes cost £3, including postage and packing. This is BBC Two, where Paul Collier now transports us to the forests.
Miles in search of Hitler's henchmen.
Do you know if this land is for sale?
Glad you asked.
We're considering building a plant. I saw you. There he is.
Charles Fries Productions presents The House on Garibaldi Street, starring an award-winning international cast, Topol, Nick Mancuso, Janet Sussman, and Martin Balsam as Isir Harel, co-starring Leo McKern, and Alfred Burke as Eichmann.
What was your SS number?
5826.
You better tell me now your real name.
My name is Adolf Eichmann.
Ivan had an orchestra of inmates playing a Strauss waltz as the women waited in line to be gassed.
You really mean that the gas chambers were an improvement?
Without question.
We've been here for 9 days. They're closing in on us.
Fearing for his father's life, Eichmann's son sought the help of the Nazi underground.
We know about the plane. We are aware of your father's predicament. That plane will never leave Buenos Aires with your father on board.
I would like to advance our takeoff.
Yes, if it's imperative.
Yes.
Done. We take off at noon.
Dispatch a police vehicle to the plane and inspect its passengers.
Ground control, Israeli Alpha X-ray 22, requesting takeoff clearance.
Israeli Alpha X-ray 22, hold position. Repeat, hold position.
What the hell is happening?
We've been told to hold.
The greatest manhunt in history. Now the screen's most intense drama.
We've just received word, sir, that Hitler has given orders to the Luftwaffe to bomb Coventry.
Could we stop an all-out effort, do you think?
Possibly.
Planes. Large number. Passing over. Location.
Get 10 Downing Street on the Scrambler and tell them exactly what you told me. It's tonight.
Halt! Over here! This way! Straight head out!
What has happened here will never be forgotten.
We managed to recover your cipher book from the farmhouse. Without you on the key, I think we can deceive them. With you on the key, I know we can. I prefer knowing.
Quite determined, isn't he?
When wasn't he about everything?
You know, there's something going on in Stockholm that he might be considered for.
What are you talking about?
Do you remember that Niels chap you were so concerned about, Niels Bohr?
Niels Bohr? Yes, what about him?
Well, to all intents and purposes, he's disappeared. But we've had some communiques about heavy machinery being shipped from France over to Scandinavia. Now, it's just the sort of machinery that he needs for this nuclear research business.
Who dances about the fire, is that it?
Yes. They want to ask us a question. You can live to be 90. Or your present age plus 30 seconds. Your choice. They want to know who dances about the fire.
Transmission reads An Arabian princess dances about the fire.
You said gypsy princess.
One word difference. You're certain the word was gypsy?
Absolutely certain.
They say, welcome home, Madeline.
Everybody everywhere will be a little worse off for it.
Well then, Youngman Grand. Father. Presenting the most irreverent, irrelevant father and son team
Since the Frankensteins. Dad? Do you think words corrupt?
I don't know. Let's try. Agnes?
Yes?
Nipple. Damn keen guy, isn't he? Bloody keen. Damn fine chap. Bloody keen, too.
Aye, quick kill. That's the name of the game.
For God's sake, guys. What's going on? In God's name, stop it! Now for a good, clean kill. I have it on the best of authority that Ringo Starr is the magic Christian.
Can't we settle our differences amicably?
No, son, no.
Some bird told me that Peter Sellers is the magic Christian.
You needn't eat the plastic. I just wanted to see if you had your price. Most of us do.
Oxford, can you hear me?
I mean, you've actually come here to offer us money to interfere with the race. Yes, that's right.
You should realize, sir, that Oxford men cannot be bought. Here, here.
You want it, here it is, come and get it, but you better hurry 'cause it's going bad.
Who knows what evil lurks in the heart of man?
The magic Christian do.
In, out, in, out.
What's going on? What is going on? What's happening? No, but seriously, folks. What's going on? What is going on?
Through the engine room, if memory serves. I say, Dad, shouldn't we tell them the real identity of the magic Christian?
Heaven only knows, son. Heaven only knows. The magic Christian is a miraculous conception.
This material is magnificent. It's wonderful. All of Italy must see it. They must see it. El Luce! El Luce!
Look at him. Look at him, such a man. He still has his mind and great courage.
Long live Italy! We will win! Luce! 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 Luce!
Rod Steiger, Henry Fonda, and Lisa Gastori in Carlo Lazzani's film Mussolini, The Last Act.
I have been charged by the Liberation Committee to ask for your unconditional surrender.
The Germans wanted Mussolini at their side.
Luce, you can't leave here on your own.
I go where I want, when I want. Now get out of my way.
The Americans and the English wanted to capture Mussolini alive to try as a war criminal.
We believe he might give us important political and military information.
He knew nothing. He was just a puppet in the Germans' hands.
Isolated in the north of Italy, Mussolini, who had ruled as dictator for 22 years, was now the head of a phantom government. Mussolini began to feel the strings tightening.
Article 5 of the decree set forth by the National Committee of Liberation reads as follows. Benito Mussolini and the other leaders of fascism
have been found guilty of destroying democratic rule and installing the regime of dictatorship, which led Italy to social and economic catastrophe. Mussolini and his henchmen are hereby condemned to death.
I want to go with him. I don't want to. I must go with him. Let me get on. Let me up, please. Don't help me. I want to go. She's alone. I want to go now.
Benito Mussolini, I arrest you in the name of the Italian people.
He's responsible for the fascist massacres. The time has come to carry out the sentence.
These two are under arrest. Can you shelter them overnight?
Yes, yes. Come in.
The hunt for Benito Mussolini began on April the 24th, 1945. It ended on the 28th.
My orders are to shoot Mussolini and the others. And I mean to do it now, within an hour.
No, don't kill him. Don't kill him.
Wait.
You can't.
Please, let
can't
go.
kill him like this. Don't kill him. Don't.
Abandoned by his supporters and revenged by the people of Italy for his atrocities, Mussolini stood alone. The last days of the notorious Italian fascist tyrant are portrayed in this great historical drama, Mussolini, The Last Act.
How did the United States develop the technology to pull ahead of the Russians in the space race? Many believe that a sophisticated guidance system was salvaged from a crashed UFO. Now, for the first time, a motion picture tells the story of these incredible events. It started with an accident in space. And it led to the crash of a large metallic disc in the Arizona desert. Military authorities immediately sealed off the area.
We think it was a controlled landing.
Give me a pass through to General Morrison.
You mean someone brought it in?
Just lights. No visible sign of life. Not outside.
And that someone is still in there.
Is the government concealing information it considers too startling to reveal?
Well, we're not going to go running around yelling flying saucer.
If we don't finish what we started, it's all over for the president.
Keep the lid on Hangar 18.
Why have the facts been kept hidden from the American public? What is it our government doesn't want us to know? This new motion picture reveals the startling proof that the government actually has the wreckage of a flying saucer and the bodies of alien astronauts. You will learn the incredible story of the most startling government cover-up ever conceived. See the story of the UFO cover-up, Hangar 18.
A cargo plane.
We gotta drop some crates at some airbase someplace.
An unscheduled stopover.
I don't know what the hell's going on, though. This ain't Florida. It's got mountains.
A secret army base.
This is an urgent mission. The secrecy and security of the entire operation may depend on it.
And a photograph.
Here's one of them. They may be subversives.
Jas and Leroy.
Look out, Ma. I don't mean to tease, but I think I'm coming home with a social disease.
Two GIs coming home.
I'm gonna get me a brand new powder blue Thunderbird convertible. When I drive in town, all them pretty little girls are just gonna melt.
Sally Mae.
I suppose you're gonna want to ride for doing that.
A girl with the Florida tan.
You offer?
Maybe I am.
In 1961, the CIA would have killed for these.
You take those units and get out there. You find the little bastards.
Hey, what's that up ahead there?
And they did.
Oh, I don't know what's going on. Now, look, Sally Mae gave me a ride here, and Green, we almost got murdered by a half a dozen guys.
Bunch of guys nosing around, asking questions about you.
Why the hell do you think you done that, Chaz? 2 damn years in the Army and nothing to say.
Why did you come here?
You're my father. I figured you'd help me out.
I don't want to be here. I don't want to get killed.
3 people wanted dead. They don't know why. They don't know by whom. All they know is they're running for their lives, and they're running scared. Ken Wall, Judge Reinhold, Ann McEnroe, Bradford Dillman, John Saxon, and Pat Engel. Leroy! Running scared.
To Abbott and Costello.
Hey, Abbott, did you see this morning's paper?
Why? What was in it?
My lunch.
I'm sorry. It was my fault. God, I'm sorry. Are you satisfied, Lou? Are you satisfied?
Drunk! Lousy drunk!
Oh, there's no problem, neighbor.
That's it. That's it, Eddie. I'm through. I never again in the rest of my life will work with Bud Abbott. Who's on first base?
Yes?
What's his name?
No. What is on second? Who is on first?
I don't know.
Oh, no, he's on third.
It wasn't meant to be in the act.
I don't understand.
Bud's an epileptic.
How would you like to go upstairs with Clark and make a little gable?
Ah, Red Costello.
Red Costello?
We can't afford a butler. Ooh, you're a bad boy.
And I don't care.
What was that?
I said I don't care.
Oh, that's our shortstop.
The Cascades, the legendary Ring of Fire, St. Helens, like a goddess, she watches silently, the ultimate time bomb.
We've just had an avalanche on the north face. I would recommend that you call the governor and preparations be made for a possible evacuation.
There is absolutely no conclusive proof that there will be a major eruption.
Do you know what would happen if Mount St. Helens had a major eruption?
What is Mr. Jackson? I'm sure nobody's interested in white.
Whitaker! You've been yakking all day long. Let him talk.
You'd melt.
You melt, huh?
That's right, Harry.
Hell of a way to go.
We're evacuating now, Governor. There's no longer any doubt. One of my men went down inside the crater and took some samples of volcanic gas.
All right, tell me, Professor Wizard, are we gonna all get blown to hell or what?
I don't know for sure. You're gonna have to come down off the mountain too, Harry.
No way.
I don't want to go. I'm going to stay here with you.
Nobody's gonna be killed.
You're gonna have to stop work and your men are gonna have to move out of the red zone.
Art Carney, David Huffman, Cassie Yates, St. Helens, the ultimate time bomb. And time ran out.
embraces the moon, and madmen are loose on the land. The night visitor comes to call. When the earth is quiet, and the good people of the world are sleeping, the night visitor comes to call. When shadows are secrets too terrible to know, when the sound in your ear is the scream you're too terrified to utter, the night visitor has come to call.
That clock doesn't work. Anton's back. He's going to kill me.
Trevor Howard, Liv Ullman, Per Oscarson, and Max von Sydow as Salem, the Night Visitor, a haunting tale of the possible. The Night Visitor will call in your neighborhood soon.
General Marshal, what are our estimated casualties?
Mr. President, it's difficult to give a specific figure.
Give me your best estimate.
And now, bomb away!
3, 2, 1.
My God, unbelievable. This is the end of the war.
I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. Get him. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him.
Okay. You got a deal.
Take a nap, Eddie.
So don't be dumb. Come on over.
Shut up, politician.
Please, just let him speak.
Why don't you sit down?
Hey.
the soul is mine, he's mine forever.
Come along, Eddie.
Where are we going?